Man standing near the riverbank saw the bridge fall in sections like a folding deck of cards. The truck driver who survived the fall said it felt like the road simply disappeared beneath him. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the conditions made recovery.
It's alive! It's alive!
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.
A man appeared in the middle of a busy New York City street, wearing clothes from another century, staring at the buildings around him like he had never seen the modern world before. Seconds later, he stepped backward into traffic and was killed. In his pockets were antique coins, outdated business cards, and the name Rudolph Fentz, a man said to have vanished decades earlier. Tonight, we investigate his story and other chilling cases of people who may or may not have stepped into the wrong time. This weekend on the podcast, we're discussing Rudolph Fentz and other real time slip cases.
That is right. You heard me correctly. Welcome in, everybody. I am Victus.
And I'm Hazel.
And this is Beyond the Shadows podcast. We're your personal, professional, paranormal investigators, and this is the greatest paranormal podcast in the world, as long as you don't fast check it. This is where we record a live show every week, one take, no edits, and try to figure out if this week's case is truly paranormal or just some type of bullshit. Hazel, how you doing?
I'm already skeptical. Already skeptical.
We haven't even talked about anything.
I know. I'm already there. Like, how do you slip in time?
Slip in time. Well, this is a thing. All right, so we'll dip into it a little bit here before we get going, because I want to know like your baseline for time slips. So this will come into play later. I'm already hot. Jeez. 5 minutes and I'm already burning up.
I'm really glad I layered up before I came in here. I'm starting to like really figure this situation out. Like,
well, you see, I made the thing to make the air blow straight down, right? There's an air conditioner right above me. This is my air conditioner, and she always is freezing, and I'm always hot. So I'm the one that always wants it cold. She's got like 25 blankets on and 2 hoodies, and she's still cold.
I'm currently wearing 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants.
Yeah.
So,
I'm wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. That's it. And I'm sweating. Just sitting here. I'm not even doing anything, and I'm sitting here sweating. Anywho,
so how are you, Victus?
I'm well. We had an interesting week. It's just I'm fucking exhausted. Work's been crazy. You know, because it's all I talk about is how crazy work is. This is the busiest time of year for me, so I'm stretched super thin, and I'm ready for it to be over with, but getting that OT, so I'm not too upset.
I've been stretched super thin too, but I'm not getting that OT. I'm just...
Yeah. 8 employees. Yay.
Yeah. Packing it all in as much as I can.
Yeah, that's right.
Packing it all in as much as I can. Yep.
We don't have any new followers on YouTube, not that I know of. Let's see if I can check it right quick.
Woo, let's go.
Worlds! Hey! How you doing? We were just talking about you right before we went live tonight. So glad you're here. You know, I haven't got any clicks or anything. We got like 10 new followers or 10 new subscribers on YouTube.
All the better for seeing you guys.
Hey, thanks.
We're excited to see you too.
Yeah, we were just, right before we went live, we were just talking about you. I was just telling her the messages that you sent me on Twitch. I try to convey them when I can. Sometimes I forget, but I love that, babe. Yeah, I was just telling her about the last message you sent me. I saw it last night. I'm so slow about messaging. Twitch is not a baseline chat platform for me, so when I see messages, I just ignore them. They're not even on my radar. And sat down last night to work on stuff for the podcast, and I saw it. Because I never have notifications on Twitch. Nobody, sends anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it kind of stand out.
I'm glad that you were able to catch it though.
Yeah.
Because I love World, and I'm so glad she's here.
Yeah. We have a good community. Blip has been here since before the stream even started.
Hi, Blip.
I saw you
For the
come in.
record, we
Blip.
love you too.
Yeah. It looks like Hef just popped in. Woo woo woo. We're knocking him out of the
Does
park today.
excited dance?
Yes.
I'm blushing.
So I want to take just a quick second for
Hello, I am still back and forth sorting stuff.
oh, go ahead, do your thing. We're here, just glad you're here to support the show, man. Take your time, do what you need to do. We're going to do
Hey, Blip.
a debut of a new viewer redemption. I'm so excited about this.
Subworlds.
I spent probably like 2 hours on this thing. It took so long to do. It's like 2 or 3 third-party websites that I got to tie together to make this work. It's the only way I know how, so that's the way I'm going to keep doing it because it works. It's just long and drawn out. But for those of you that don't know, back when I was streaming art, we had a redemption for Chicken and Potato. They're still in there. Chicken and Potato. Potato was my cat. Chicken was her dog. We lost them last year.
Yeah,
Has it
sort
been
of.
2
It
years?
was like Chicken was in January of 2024, and Potato, I think, was in roughly around November of 2024. Yeah, it's been almost 2 years now, but yeah, weirdly the same year,
Right,
which
yeah.
is bizarre.
They went
yeah.
close together. But we got a new cat and a new dog. I haven't made the video for the new cat yet because she is young and fickle and doesn't sit still for anybody. But our dog, Basil, we made a redemption for him. And I made a little song and everything for it. So without further ado, the most overused phrase in podcasting, here is the Basil bass drop. I worked so hard on this. It might be loud. I haven't checked the audio levels on this yet, so headphone warning.
Basil bass drop.
That's Basil. That is Basil. This is what we deal with.
Great.
His crazy energy all the time. So next will be olive oil. We got to get olive oil to do something. I don't know. Potato is fat and lazy, so she just liked to roll around on the ground, so that was easy. Yeah, if we get dates. The bass drop. I couldn't think of anything because there was like a shtick for each one. So like, man, my mic is so loud right now. I'm so sorry, y'all. There was like a shtick for each one. So Chicken had the Chicken Attack song. Potato had the Tater song from Lord of the Rings, and I was like, what am I gonna do? I need something that works for Basil, and I was like, Basil bass drop, that works. It was a placeholder at first, but I was like, you know what, Basil bass drop works. I'm gonna stick with that.
He makes a lot of noise.
He
so
does.
It's kind of perfect.
He's very energetic. I'm gonna do it one more time. This is his normal energy level. This is him all the time.
Basil bass drop.
And you know what's so wild about that? I was talking to a coworker about this the other day.
H-H-A-H-A, you put the moustache on the alien.
Yes.
We were hoping you would notice.
So it fell off sometime last week, and we have a 2-bedroom house, and this one of the bedrooms is what we're in right now, and I also use it for yoga pretty regularly. And I looked over and saw the mustache was gone yesterday, and I was like, oh no, I wondered if the dog got it or something, but
Right.
Victus found it.
When we're not in here, we don't leave the AC running because there's no point in cooling a room we're not using. So I'm assuming it just got hot and the glue gave up the spirit. We can stick it to that just fine. That poster is protected. Well, I'll eventually
Yeah.
put some double sticky tape up there because it'll probably fall before the night's over with.
Yeah.
I pressed it on there as hard as I could without creasing that beautiful, beautiful poster.
But okay, so let me go back real quick. So I was talking to a coworker about this last week, and so this coworker had recently lost a dog, and their family members were talking about, if they wanted to get another one and looking at puppies and stuff. Which, when Chicken died, I told you no more. We're not doing this again. It was like, this is so wild because I in childhood I lost dogs, but Chicken was with me. I got him at 5 months old when I was like 22 or something. And then, so I had him for all of his whole life as an adult, and he went everywhere with me. And it was like, you love a dog so much, and you don't realize the pain that comes, when you lose the dog. But Chicken was old, and he did not run around a lot. He did not do a lot of playing towards the end of his life. Last few years, he wanted to cuddle all the time. He wanted to be rubbed. He wanted to lick. He loved licking. And so anyway, Basil was sort of, I feel like, sent to us by Chicken because of the way in which Basil came into our lives. And Basil was born 2 days after Chicken's birthday, so there was a lot of signs there, right? But we brought him home, and he is just wild, so wild.
Energy for days.
And I had forgotten that that's what Chicken was like when he was a baby. And so it's so funny because you start all over again, and you're like, oh my gosh, the energy level. Yeah.
Like dealing with a toddler.
Yeah.
He's in his toddler phase right now, and he has so much energy. He just, the simplest things, we'll be standing in the kitchen. I'll just put my hands down I want to grab him, and he'll just start running in circles around me. We call it Tokyo Drift because he will just go circles, 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 circles. And then he just stops and sits down. He's wild.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get him calm enough to be on the show. He's still young, and he likes to get into stuff. He does.
But he did have a handsome boy haircut and bath today.
He did. He got a haircut today. All right. Well, let's press forward. Enough of our banter. I know. I mean, this is the reason I wanted a second host. Aeon was wonderful. Aeon and I could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours on end. Him and I go way back. We're the purest form of friends outside of my marriage that I have. I have maybe 3 friends, and he is my number one. Is my dude. We could talk for hours. He used to call the podcast the Paranormal Cuss and Discuss, and we would just have some drinks and we would talk, and then we would mix in the investigation. But when he moved on, he's gonna come back eventually. But when he moved on to do some personal stuff, I lost the banter, and it was really hard. It was shit. Now I'm just gonna read for 2 hours, and it sucked. Because now there's banter, and shoot, people stay for just the banter. Sometimes people just like talking. Fine, we're humans. We're gonna talk. We live together, and this time being on the
Hazel, you're a fantastic addition.
Oh, thank you, world. Thank you. I like being here. I like meeting you guys and talking to you guys. It makes me feel connected, and it's something that we can do that honestly makes me feel human, because sometimes you get in the mode of daily life and work, and then you just feel like a robot.
Yeah.
But this makes me feel human.
Yeah, I mean, it was for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I would podcast, and then in between bathroom breaks, I would run by and be like, yeah, I got 6 people watching, and I would throw names out there, and I'm sure you were like, What's a world's of confusion?
Did you see that cute little kitty in a hoodie?
Yes.
That was adorable.
It might be
I
a
like
burrito.
that one. Oh, is it a burrito?
It might
That's even
be.
better.
I don't know. Burrito cat. World has got all the best redemptions. We only got like paranormal related things. Ghosts. Like ghosts and zombies. Sharks and Mothmans. Worth every penny. World's got the eyeball. Isn't that poke your eyes out?
Ooh.
Oh no, that's Worlds. Okay. I thought that was poke your eyes out. Poke your eyes out has got a ton of eyeball related emotes. Ton of them. Dude's really doing it. Hope to see him come around sometime. He's been gone the last few episodes. Anywho, let's dive off into the actual script.
What?
Ooh, I like that one. I like that one a lot. Ooh, I like that ghost too. Yeah, you get some good ones. I think this one's my favorite. I love the pizza Mothman. She knows I love my pizza. I'll sit there
It's
and smash
true.
all.
Ooh. That one reminds me of an Ah Real Monsters. Is that the Ah Real Monsters eyeball? You remember the little Ah Real
Yeah.
Monsters guy that held
The
up
guy
his
that
little
holds his
eyeballs?
eyes?
like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, we're that age. We're that age. I just let me sidebar. Ooh, I like that one. Small sidebar. One of my Facebook memories today was it was a screenshot from Rugrats, and oh look, Star Trek. We like some Star Trek. One of my memories was a screenshot from Rugrats, and it was a picture of the parents, and it was like, today I'm today years old when I realized these sorry, beaten down, trodden looking adults are in their 30s, and so am I. And I was like, oh geez, yeah. I feel like the parents from from Rugrats.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We do have a new addition to the background. I have my transformed Okaroon up here. I got the last of the 4 Don Funko Pops this week because of this one. She keeps ordering them for me even though I tell her not to. And we also have Turbo Granny up here. Turbo Granny sitting on top of Chicken's old bowl. Up here, right here. Right there, that's Turbo Granny laying down sideways. Love my Funko Pops. I'm picky about them now, but anywho, it's time now for this week's news in paranormal. Strangest headlines, newest sightings, and weirdest claims making noise across the world this week. Are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready. I'm
All right.
ready.
Let's go. Well, first off, we have a massive sea creature video sparking debate. A viral clip shared this week shows a large shape moving just beneath the surface near a coastal harbor, creating a wake many viewers say looks too large for any normal fish. Skeptics argue it's likely a seal, drifting debris, or a camera perspective distortion. Believers are calling it the newest candidate for a modern sea monster sighting.
Family claims time slip on a rural highway. A family driving late at night says they somehow lost nearly 40 minutes while traveling a road that should have taken less than 10. They also claim the surroundings briefly looked older with missing buildings and unusual lights before everything returned to normal. Critics blame stress, fatigue, or confusion, but the story has spread quickly online because of this week's episode.
Well, hold on. I just noticed our backdrop isn't there.
No.
Hold on. I gotta grab that right quick. I moved it. I was moving stuff around before the show started. Oh no. I transferred it to the server. Yep, that ain't gonna happen today. You need to deal with this black screen in the background. Sorry, we'll get it next week. Yeah, go right ahead. Do it. Oh yeah, because of this week's episode topic. Yeah, yeah. I messed up with my editing here. You did. You- oh. You
Sorry,
were
I was
yeah.
muted. Yeah. So sorry about that. Thanks, Worlds. Yeah, I sometimes hit this button a little too fast.
Yeah, we had to her mic, we have to, when she's not using it, she has to mute it because our mics are so close together. And yeah, there we go. Oh yeah,
Twinsies.
the text to chat doesn't work in this scene. I haven't set it up. I mean, I could set it up. We can hear it, but y'all can't hear it. We can hear it, but y'all can't hear it. There we go. It's in there now. Text to speech is in the scene. Sorry. Yep. Wow, we're all over the place today.
This is like Anchorman in the
Yeah.
newscast. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. No, that was Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
You remember
Yeah.
Bruce Almighty, where Bruce does the thing where he controls the anchor man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's us today. All right, so next up, we have a shadow figure captured in an abandoned hospital. Investigators exploring an abandoned hospital in the Midwest posted footage this week showing what appears to be a dark human-shaped figure moving down a hallway before vanishing down behind a doorway. Critics say lighting and camera compression explain everything, but believers say the motion looks too deliberate to dismiss.
Unusual lights reported over the Nevada desert. Multiple witnesses report silent lights changing direction over the Nevada desert late this week. Some describe the objects hovering motionless before accelerating rapidly. Others believe military testing near restricted ranges remains the most likely explanation.
And finally, haunted object market keeps growing. Online marketplaces continue seeing listings for allegedly haunted and cursed dolls, possessed mirrors, and haunted antiques. Sellers describe whispering voices, moving objects, and sudden bad luck after purchase. Apparently, inflation has not hurt demand for paranormal home decor. And that has been this week's News and Paranormal. If any of those stories turn out to be true, we'll be back next week and pretend that we knew them first. Yeah, script writing. I'm trying with the joking stuff. It's not working.
So, Victus, I heard you made another call to Beyond the Grave.
Yeah.
How'd you do? What'd you do this week?
I contacted a dead person on the phone this week. Thank you, Worlds. So glad we have such an active participant in the show. So I actually get a hold of I FaceTime Rudolph Fentz, the first person we're going to talk about tonight from Beyond the Grave. I'm like, hey, man, did you really time jump? I need to know. And then he grabbed that little phone. He got real close to that microphone, and he started whispering. He's like, you need to lower your voice. You can't let anybody hear about horror. I said, why? He's like, this is so serious. He's like, this is life and death. But before I tell you, I need to know one thing. I'm like, what is it? You can see he's looking around. He's looking around. He's trying to figure out if anybody's watching him. He's like, I need to know. I need to know. I'm like, what is it? He says, what shirt are you wearing today? Oh, I haven't even tested the foot pedal. Jeez, here we go. Let's see if this works. The dancing. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Let me see. But yeah, okay, cool. That seems to be working. There, close up. Yeah, cool. So I'm wearing one of my very favorite shirts. This is an officially licensed t-shirt from one of my favorite musicians, and he's been one of my favorite musicians since the 90s. I am an OG fan. I've been there since day one. I've been following this guy since before the time of MySpace, before the time of Napster. I had his first album on cassette tape. I knew him before Traveling Without Moving. I knew him before the world knew what virtual insanity was. I am wearing my officially licensed Jamiroquai t-shirt. Love this shirt. Love this shirt.
You have him still on rotation on a lot of the
Yeah.
Spotify playlists that
We
you have too.
We listened to one of his songs today.
Yeah. Yep,
We
we
went
did.
for a little drive and
Yeah.
looking at some stuff and tried to hit an estate sale. And we heard Automaton.
Yeah. All right, so I've got mine too. You ready? I have
Oh wait, I need to check.
Tina Belcher. Tina Belcher on my shirt. Bob's Burgers, Tina Belcher. What's really great about this shirt is it actually does say,
Yay, Bob's Burgers.
it says butts.
That's we are a Bob's Burgers household. We love us some Bob's Burgers. If you look very, very closely, right here in the camera, you see that bright green spot? That is actually a glow-in-the-dark Coochie Kopi. Oh no, there it is. It's up here. There it is. He's fallen over, but that's my glow-in-the-dark Coochie Kopi.
That was another gift.
That was another gift. She's
I
the
do-
best
I
at
do-
gift giving.
I try. I do pay attention.
She's so much better at it than I am. I am not the best at gift giving.
You
I
did a
try.
really good job on Valentine's Day this year.
What was the gift this year? I don't even remember.
This year you got me a tumbler that has Bulbasaur on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A nice tumbler, brand name tumbler, brand name
Igloo.
Igloo. What's that? What's that one that everybody's crazy about? What's that brand of tumbler that everybody likes?
Oh yeah.
Not Coleman.
No. I don't know. Stanley.
Stanley,
Yeah, it's
that's
not
it,
a
yeah.
Stanley. I do not own a Stanley.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Stanley does not do the cool prints like Igloo does. Igloo does like collaborations and stuff. Yeah, Igloo is so much better. For those of you interested in Pokemon cups, we are not sponsored by Igloo, but check out their website. They do have a plethora of Pokemon. My favorite is Snorlax, and I was able to actually find a Snorlax cup at Walmart. So I got really lucky there.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was glad you were able to find one.
Well, we saw it, and I passed on it. And I was going to show you when we went grocery shopping, and then it was gone next time we passed through. I told myself if we went back and we saw it again, I was going to get it. And it was on sale, so I got it for less than like $10, I think. $10. Not going to tell you what I paid for it. I'll let you figure that out. All right. All right, jerks, y'all ready to get into this week's investigation? We're talking about time slips tonight. But before we get into the plethora of time slips throughout history of human knowledge, we have one very important case that we're going to cover first, and that is the case of Rudolph Fentz, the guy that I FaceTimed when he asked about which shirt I'm wearing today. Yes. So glad you're here, Worlds. So glad to have a participant. I see we got one person in YouTube watching. Welcome in, friends. Before we get going, what do you know about time slips?
That I'm pretty sure the only ones that, you know, I mean, I feel like the only thing I know is Doctor Who related, and you know, like
So-
just being able to travel through time. But it's not really, I guess, not the same thing.
Yeah,
it's
that's-
kind of, it's not the same thing. It's just adjacent. But that's the closest thing I know.
All right,
That
so,
time slip.
the candle finally went out. Oh, no, it's still going. One of the wicks just went out.
Oh, it's hanging in there.
Time to move that one onto the, time to let my buttercream sprinkles candle cross the rainbow bridge and move something better in here. So you don't have really a baseline for knowledge of time slips. Do you know what time slips are?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just losing time, but then the idea is that you show up in a different time period, I guess,
Right.
or you went through a different time period or something,
Yeah,
but
not
you
necessarily
lose, like,
losing time. There are a great number of very famous cases of time slipping, some of which I do believe we're talking about tonight. Let me scroll through the script right quick. I've got to lean because the camera is in the way of my scroll bar. I think Act 5 is... Nope, Act 4? No, each one of the acts is a different time slip. Forget how I laid it out.
I spent a really long time on this last night.
I
You were
did.
telling me you had to rewrite it like
I rewrote it three
3
times. But there are some very, very popular time slip stories. England has an overwhelmingly high volume of time slip cases. Not sure like the fundamentals of how it works because of course we haven't mastered time, but I mean time is a human construct, so time slip seems like an abstract thing, right? But essentially a lot of the cases of time slipping is somebody be walking down the street, they'll take a corner, and then all of a sudden everybody around them is wearing like period clothing. And they can see what's going on and everything looks like it's in the 1800s. And then they freak out and run back the way they came, and then poof, they're back in present day. And sometimes it works the other way around. And there's been some debate about whether or not this is what residual haunting is.
Like Good Night, Sweetheart.
Yes. There's so many different cases, and I hope we're able to cover the majority of them tonight. That, I mean, there's even one that I can remember where they are visiting. Was Marie Antoinette French?
Yes.
So they were visiting. Was that
I mean,
Versailles?
it is true you go to some parts of the UK and it's like being back in the 19th century.
Right. And it's, you know, that's what a lot of people think is there's like something rooted in the ground that pulls you back. Like maybe it's like a wormhole that pulls you back into a residual haunting. There's a bunch of different ways this can go, but one of my favorite time slips, and I think we might talk about it tonight, is a woman is visiting Versailles, and she's just wandering around the grounds looking, and then she doesn't know it at the time, but she time slips, and she sees Marie Antoinette sitting and drawing, and then she was a crack shot for details. She remembered a bunch of stuff, and then when she freaked out, ran back the way she came, and hit present day, she's like, "That was really cool. The thing you got set up over at that little podium over there." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And they go back over there, and there's nobody there, and like the podium is all, or like the gazebo thing is all worn down and shit, and like fallen down, and like, no, I was just here. It was somebody dressed like Marie Antoinette. She was sitting, and she was wearing this, and she had her hair like this, and she was sketching this. They're like, "Wait, she actually sketched that." So like they found the sketch and found like a journal entry in one of her diaries where she was sitting on the gazebo sketching. And the crazy part is she says in her diary entry that she saw a stranger. So this time slips are really bizarre. They really are. Originally, we were going to just cover Rudolph Fentz, but for the sake of transparency, I was not able to verify a lot of information.
What?
Yeah, I know. Red flag. Yeah, we don't have a womp womp womp.
Oh man, you know what we need?
What do we need?
Is we need to get like a tiny red flag and a tiny green flag over here so I can wave them when I feel the urge to wave them when I feel so moved. A red flag and a green flag.
Right. Well, what we're getting at is this is a very compelling story, and I like to bring evidence-based things to you for an investigation. I was unable to find decent enough evidence to persuade you one way or the other. You were just going to look at this case and be like, "No, it's fake." I knew you would. So I deviated. I changed the script a little bit, and instead of covering one time slip, we're going to cover time slips in general. That being said, the Rudolph Fentz case is really, really interesting. And there's been a flap of interest in this on social media lately, especially on Instagram. People are making like little AI short videos about this case. Really interesting stuff. Have you ever heard the name Rudolph Fentz outside of tonight?
You know, I feel like I have, but I only feel like I've heard this name because I feel like you've talked about him before. So I feel like we've had conversations around this before, but they've been like...
Very likely.
Like back when I was drinking. I feel like we've had drinking conversations about this before.
Yeah, one-sided drinking table over here. My stack of beers and she has water.
I feel like the more people watch this podcast, they're like, "Oh my gosh, he has the most miserable life because she's so skeptical and she just shoots down all of these things and she doesn't."
I'm sure if you had one drink with me, you would probably agree that some of these are paranormal by the end of it.
I'm sure you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to do this investigation. We're here to talk about the facts. First thing first, let's get to these facts. Let's start off with Act 1. The man who walked out of the past. So this is a super interesting case here, folks. I know you're going to love this. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to get going. This is Season 3, Episode 15. And if my math is correct, this is Episode 99. So next week will be our 100th episode, and but we've got a tiny, small little thing we're gonna do next week. Oh wait, see, usually I have like 2 beers by this point, and I forget. So before we get going, I got a surprise for you.
Oh no!
Let me get the music going. No fake mustache. No fake mustaches tonight. No Victorian era clothing. I noticed this sitting around, and I was like, "What do I got to do to get this thing running?" And I got it going. Are you ready? Okay, close your eyes.
Yay, exciting.
Close your eyes. Don't peek. Don't peek. Don't peek. Don't tell her anything in chat. This was one of her favorite things. And I'm sure you'll see with her reaction what I mean. I'm sure once you hear it, you're going to be like, oh my God, I know what that is. I think you all kind of know what's going on here. I mean, okay, look.
Oh, that's hilarious. I forgot about it. Oh, that's too funny. Oh, I love him. That's awesome.
It's our wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
Okay, so I love these things, and when I see them in real life, they make me so happy that I almost cry almost every single time. And this is awesome. I'm so glad that you got him going and he's up here. That's amazing.
Do you remember, like, it was like 2 weeks ago, I bought this little power supply thing. It was like $30, and I said, wow, this is more expensive than I thought it was going to be, because I wanted to do this.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been waiting for 2 weeks. Well, the week I got it, I was like, oh, she's going to love this. And you kept coming in here, so I couldn't test it. So I was like, I'll just put it down there. And then last week I was like, it works. Look, it's working great. And then you came in, so I hit it really quickly. And we were just about to get going, and I happened to look down, and I saw on the shelf that it was sitting there. I was like, oh, we got to do this before we get going.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you did that. That is awesome.
Because it's got a spot for batteries. I put batteries in it, and it's not enough juice. Wave around, damn it. So like the first few minutes I had it running, it didn't want to wave around. It was just standing straight up. Like it was just like stuck like this. And I was like, that's not what it's supposed to do.
That's awesome. I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm curious, can you guys hear the fan running? Can you hear that little motor running? We have really good noise suppression on these microphones. I don't see anything in OBS.
What about now? I just turned mine on.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, well,
Nope,
maybe
can't hear the motor or anything.
Yay!
maybe we'll leave this thing running for the for the duration of the show until she gets tired of it waving in her face. All right.
So really quickly, just a fun fact. You already know this, but they don't. So a few Halloweens ago, I dressed up as a wacky inflatable arm tube man. I made my own costume. I had the little laundromat, the laundry basket, the little ones that fold out, the little cylindrical ones. And I put 2 big eyeballs on it and cut little slits into it. And then I just was waving my arms on the front porch. It was great. It was great.
I've seen the pictures.
It was fantastic.
Like I found it downstairs and I was like, this is just sitting here collecting dust. We need this upstairs in the office. So
You got photos?
Somewhere. We'll have to find them because it's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I've seen the photo. It was a long time ago, but I've seen the photo. It was good. All right, kids, let's get into Act 1, everybody. This is Season 3, Episode 99. Season 3, Episode 15, our 99th episode. So get ready for something special next week. We're going to do a recap of our very first episode because our first episode was so bad. I went back and watched it the other night, and like the audio was all over the place. I was using a horrible webcam with green screen, and like I was doing too much. It was just too much. So for next week, we are going to recap. We're going to go back over the first episode ever of Beyond the Shadows podcast. We are going to reinvestigate my favorite case, the Phoenix Lights. Yes. So next week, get ready. We're going to do this Phoenix Lights. But this is Season 3, Episode 15. Yes. Great episode. We're gonna have so much fun next week. This looks so ridiculous on camera. So let's get into it, everybody. Season 3, Episode 15, Beyond the Shadows podcast. This is Rudolph Fentz and Other Real Time Slips. We're starting off with Act 1, The Man Who Walked Out of Time. Let me get my bravery juice on. If there is one name most commonly linked to time slips, it's Rudolph Fentz. His story has been repeated for decades as one of the strangest unexplained cases ever told. A man disappears in one century and then suddenly appears in another. Whether true, false, or somewhere in between, it became the gateway story for people fascinated by the idea that time may not be as fixed as we think. The case is usually placed in New York City during early 1950s. The city was alive with traffic, noise, lights. Cars moved through crowded intersections. Neon signs glowed overhead. People hurried along sidewalks with no reason to expect anything unusual. Then witnesses noticed a man standing in the street who looked completely out of place. He wore dark, formal clothing in an older style, the kind people associated with the late 1800s. Some versions describe it as a long coat, narrow trousers, boots, and an old-fashioned grooming. Others say he looked clean, well-kept, ordinary except for one thing. Nothing about him matched the world around him. More unsettling than the clothes was his reaction. He seemed confused. He turned circles. He stared at the traffic, the lights, the building, and the crowds as if he had no idea where he was. Witnesses later described him as frightened, disoriented, even panicked. It was not the look of a man performing for attention. It was the look of someone who believed that reality had suddenly changed. Then came the moment that made the story unforgettable. Oh, you can turn it off now? Can't handle it? Okay. As cars passed around him, the man stepped backward into the street and was struck by a taxi. He died before he could explain anything, before anyone could ask his name, before anyone could understand why he looked like he had walked out of another century. Police arrived, expecting a tragic accident. Instead, according to the story, they found details that turned the case into legend. Inside his pockets were items that did not fit the modern era. Old coins no one recognized in circulation. Business cards from long-gone companies. Identification with the name Rudolph Fentz. Some versions mentioned a letter mailed many years earlier. Others mentioned tokens linked to a horse transportation. Each item added to the mystery. Who was this man, and why did everything on him seem decades out of date? Investigators traced the name through records and family history. That search led to an even stranger claim. A man named Rudolph Fentz had reportedly vanished in the 1800s after leaving home one evening and never returning. No explanation, no body, and no answers. Until now. That twist is what made this case famous around the world. If true, it would mean that the missing man did not die in his own time at all. He somehow crossed into the future, arriving only long enough to become another mystery. And whether people believe the story or not, you can understand why it spread. It touches a fear almost everyone has imagined. What if you woke up somewhere unfamiliar, but everything had changed? The streets are the same, yet not the same. Buildings taller than anything you knew, machines you did not understand, money no longer useful, no family, no friends, no explanation. That terror gives the Rudolph Fentz story emotional weight. It feels human. It also raises a bigger question. If one person could slip through time by accident, could others have experienced the same thing and survived to tell it? Because Rudolph Fentz is far from the only case linked to this idea. Across different countries and decades, people have described walking into streets that looked older than they should, entered buildings that should not exist, losing time on familiar roads, or watching entire scenes from another era play out in front of them before everything suddenly returned to normal. Some call it confusion, some call it false memory, others call it something far stranger. They call them time slips. And tonight, Rudolph Fentz is only the beginning. What an intro.
What an intro.
What an
Indeed.
intro. So, you understanding time slips now?
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I have a lot of questions about it.
Boom.
Boom, indeed. Yes. I have a lot of questions about it, like, just in general, because obviously, I guess the rules of the time slip are, according to the Rudolph Fentz story, that if you die in the time that you accidentally walked into, that's it for you. You're not going back.
Right. Right.
So, let's say you are walking, I don't know, through a really tall building, and you suddenly slip back in time and the building wasn't there, and you just fall to the ground. Like,
Sure, it's possible. Why not?
well, I won't be going any more really tall buildings ever again. No, I'm kidding.
So yeah, this is not a unique story. There are many, many, many stories like this. And it's not unheard of. It's not, this is not an original type of story. This is something that has been happening for a long time. There are hundreds of cases of time slips, everything from back to Victorian times to people in present day, like the Marie Antoinette story I told you at the beginning. Some people do attribute this to like wormholes, accidentally stepping into a wormhole, or some people do attribute this to UFOs, lost times. It's this is a really weird idea. You know what I mean?
Man, if I was an alien and I was
Presumably,
like,
if you slipped back to the exact location, the Earth would be elsewhere in its orbit.
Right?
oh yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah. So if I was an alien and I was just like hovering around up here in my little spaceship, just like this,
Mhm.
I would definitely think it was fun to mess with people and like
Absolutely.
take them up and then put them in a different time.
Yeah.
That would be just the coolest thing ever.
Well, that goes back to what Aeon was saying in season 1. His idea about extraterrestrial visitation is we are a sightseeing destination, and occasionally we get those drunk college kids through here that wreck their ship, or they just pick somebody up for funsies, diddle their booty hole and drop them back down, and they're just chuckling, elbowing each other in the ship and driving back to planet Klaxor.
Oh, you and Aeon had some great conversations, didn't you?
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and then of course Split brings up a good point here, that presumably if you slip back into the exact location, the Earth would be elsewhere in its orbit. So that would be, yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be extra fun to mess with him that way.
Something sentient happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
Oh? I don't know how I feel. I mean, I still don't believe it's real, but Yeah.
Okay,
It makes
I mean,
me like this happened in the 1950s, right? So Rudolph Fentz,
I think
obviously.
I think there were pictures of it. Let me see if we can find a picture.
So we watch a lot of unsolved mysteries. We talk about that a lot, and people went missing in the show all the time, never to be seen again, or people, committed a crime allegedly, and then created these whole new identities for themselves. And a lot of times they got away with it, and you look it up on the Unsolved Mysteries website, which is still live, and you can never get an update on these people. So this is the 1950s, right? And so it makes me feel like maybe somebody just found some identification.
Right. Well, we do have an actual photo of Rudolph Fentz from the 1800s. Check us out. So this is
Whoa!
This is actually him.
Hold on. Look at that mustache.
Look at that mustache. Look familiar to you, anybody? Peter James, 1800s. I couldn't do it. That shit would just be catching food and drink all the time. All the time. I couldn't do it. But yeah, this is an actual photo of Rudolph Fentz, the man that disappeared in the 1800s. There is actual proof that he existed in the 1800s, and there's an actual police record of him disappearing. However, this is where the story breaks up, is we don't have any corroborating evidence for him in the 1950s. The story goes that somebody made it up. But just because you don't have evidence to prove it doesn't mean it's false. Just saying. Just saying.
No, I do see your logic there. I see your logic.
So I can understand that maybe, a guy in the 1800s actually disappeared. And somebody's like, this would make a great story.
A lot of people disappeared in the 1800s.
Yeah, a lot of people just ghosted in the 1800s. I could see somebody just picking it up, but how diligent do you got to be? Oh, I'm going to make a time slip story. Let me dig back through the records. You got to go back 60 plus years before you find a record of somebody that disappeared.
But then you found this guy with this mustache, and you said, this is the one.
That's the man.
The one.
We found him. We found him.
All right. So should we dive into Act 2 and just kind of read about this woman and see?
Yes, we should, but I know it's early, but I would like to take a quick bathroom break. I've had a tall boy beer and a short boy beer. So
is that why you switched to the short one?
No, because the short ones are much stronger.
Oh, yeah, you bought the tall. Well, we got the tall ones today.
I bought the tall ones because they're delicious and they're local.
Yeah, they are. They are.
The
local.
short ones are twice as strong, and I have to drink half as many.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I need to use the restroom. I'm the one that tapped out. I know. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, we're going to talk about the woman who.
I have to pee so often.
Okay, yeah. Let's all just take a bathroom break.
Here.
Let's all take a break. We'll be right back, everybody. Hold the phone. Many drivers never realized what was happening until it was too late. A man standing near the riverbank saw the bridge fall in sections like a folding deck of cards. A truck driver who survived the fall said it felt like the road simply disappeared beneath him. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the conditions made recovery difficult. Boats from both sides of the river rushed to the scene. Some survivors clung to the debris, shouting for help. Others were trapped in their vehicles underwater. Emergency responders pulled as many people as they could from the river, but many sank with their cars before help arrived. Inside were beings, tall, between 6 and 7 feet, thin with elongated heads, large black almond-shaped eyes, skin that appeared grayish-white, slick like plastic, no mouths, no ears, just eyes. They communicate, but now with words. They're inside my head. Jim said. He was placed on a table, naked, cold, unable to move or scream. The beings inserted something into his nostrils, something thin and sharp. He felt it reaching deep, too deep. Then something touched his groin, a metallic object with spindles. They're taking something. They're a proof of how thin the human operating system can become under stress, drugs, and infection and fear. So no shambling corpse, no resurrection, and yet if you're looking for real-world zombification, here it is. Compulsion at the molecular level. Now imagine a human-scaled analog, a pathogen that narrows the world to an impulse, rage, pursuit, panic, and that erases memory, fragments of identity, and flattens empathy. Not a cinematic plague, a behavioral one. Or a proof of how thin the human operating system can become under stress, drugs, and infection and fear. A city drifts a few degrees off true north, and suddenly the familiar looks like an invasion. If the Haitian zombie was a metaphor for enslavement and death, then the modern zombie is a metaphor for systems failure during life, an organism, or a society running without the parts that make it human. However, rabies is scary. We heavily vaccinate our pets today against rabies simply because they are larger animals and that they have very sharp teeth. They're very good at biting. However, we see a lot of like rabies infested like raccoons, smaller. I don't want to use the word rodent because they're not really rodent like animals, but smaller animals are really better at transmitting the rabies virus. This is the big reason why we have the stigma today that we don't want mice in our homes, because mice, rats, anything in the rodent family spreads disease. But when the program starts talking back, is that still you? Or is it something that's wearing your voice? The scientists working on it see it as preservation, but others see it as a modern form of zombification, reanimating the shell without the soul. We used to fear Bocor's powder. Here we are. We've returned. All right.
Here we are.
Bladder's empty.
Yes. Okay.
Are you ready to get into Act 2? We're going to touch on another case of time slip.
Yeah, I'm
Time
ready.
slippage.
I'm ready.
Not to be confused with nipple slips.
No, definitely not to be confused
No
with those.
Janet Jackson's here.
No. That was a long time ago.
Right?
Imagine, so what's so funny about that, like, there's nothing actually funny in my mind about it because, like, I just feel really bad. Like, whether it was planned or not, I feel really bad that somebody was, like, subject to that. But the actual funny part, because there is a funny part in the present, and that is we thought that was the most scandalous thing we were ever going to see on TV.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's even more crazy, so I saw it live. I remember watching it live, and I saw it, and I was like, and I turned around and I looked at my mom, and I was like,
Jesus, what a good point.
I remember turning around and looking at my mom, I was like, did you see her nips? She's like, yeah, I think so. Just look, they planned it. You know how
Point.
You know how I know that they planned it?
for sure.
You know how I know they planned it? Because she had a fancy little piece of jewelry around her nipple.
I don't know, though. I don't know, because a lot of people do get piercings. Anyway, that's neither here nor
It wasn't
there.
a piercing. It was a stick-on thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I've done a personal deep dive in this many years ago.
Oh, wow.
Many years ago. Because I wanted to know. I was like, was this a fabricated event? Because, of course, what's the best way to get somebody talking about a specific artist than flash a nip on a halftime show? Wardrobe malfunction, quote unquote.
Anyways. Should we go to Versailles now?
Let's go to Versailles. Let's
go
get
to
into Act 2,
Versailles.
everybody. Let me fade out this music and we're gonna get going.
I'm not going to do this right. I'm not going to introduce it right. I just know it.
What
Act
do you
2.
mean?
Act 2. Let's get into Act 2, everybody. Act 2. The woman who walked into old France. Did I do it right?
Yeah, you did it.
All right, let's do
Yeah,
it.
you got it.
If Rudolph Fentz is the most famous American time slip story, then one of the most discussed European cases is known as the Versailles Time Slip. And I guess our European listeners can tell us if that's true or not. The
Right.
case begins in the summer of 1901 when the two English women, Charlotte Ann Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain sounds better,
Jordan. Yeah.
visited the grounds of the Palace of Versailles. Both were educated, respected, and not known for wild public claims. They were touring the estate and attempting to find a smaller palace associated with Marie Antoinette. At first, the walk seemed ordinary. They moved through the gardens, pathways, and wooded areas looking for directions. Then, according to their later account, the atmosphere began to change. The grounds became strangely quiet. The normal feeling of a public tourist site seemed to disappear. They said the air felt heavy and unnatural, almost like a world had gone still. People they encountered appeared dressed in older clothing. Their mannerisms seemed formal and distant. Neither women fully understood what was happening in the moment, but both later described a growing sense of dread. They passed men wearing clothing they believed belonged to another century. They saw a woman shaking out a cloth near a cottage. They noticed architecture and pathways that seemed unfamiliar compared to maps and known layouts. Then came the detail that made the case famous. Near the smaller palace, one of the women reported seeing a seated woman sketching. She later became convinced that the figure resembled Marie Antoinette herself, as though they had somehow witnessed the grounds during the late 1700s. Eventually, the strange atmosphere lifted. Other visitors appeared. The grounds felt normal again. Sound returned. The unsettling silence was gone. Only later, after discussing the experience separately, did both women realize they had noticed many of the same odd details. That is what gave the story power. It was not one person claiming a dreamlike vision. It was two witnesses comparing memories. Years later, they published their account and argued that they may have experienced some form of overlap in time, briefly perceiving the grounds of Versailles as they existed before the French Revolution. Critics quickly challenged the claim. Some argued the women became lost and embarrassed, then built a dramatic memory afterward. Others suggested misread historical reenactors, stress, suggestion, or faulty recall. Skeptics also pointed out that parts of the story changed over time, which damaged the confidence in the account. But supporters counter with one major point. Both women were educated professionals who risked public ridicule by publishing it. They had little to gain by inventing such a strange story. Whether true or not, the case remains one of the most famous time slip reports ever recorded because it includes several recurring elements found in many similar stories. A familiar location that suddenly feels wrong, silence or a strange shift in the atmosphere, people in outdated clothing, an intense emotional reaction, then an abrupt return to normal reality. That pattern appears again and again in the time slip claims from different countries and eras. And this raises an uncomfortable possibility. What if time slips are not dramatic portals or science fiction machines? What if they are brief distortions of perception, moments where a person somehow witnesses another layer of the same place? Because that would explain why so many stories happen in roads, buildings, gardens, and historic sites, places with deep history, places where generations have stood before. Or maybe it explains nothing at all. Maybe two women got lost in the garden and created one of the most enduring paranormal stories in Europe. But if that is true, then why do so many other witnesses describe the same kind of experience? Because next, we move from the royal gardens in France to a city street where people still claim the past can appear without warning. Dun dun dun!
So that was the story I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. So there's
Yes.
more information to that story. So Marie Antoinette did keep journals, like a diary. And in one of her pages of her diary, she explained that she was in the garden sketching, which she was known to do. And the journal entry just mentions briefly that a stranger dressed in weird clothing appeared and then disappeared in a haze. Take that for what it's worth. It is written, it is documented. This is her official diary that, I'm sure it's in a museum somewhere. I don't know. Unfortunately, I didn't pull that up as evidence. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But this is documented. So we do have some type of documented evidence proving that something weird happened. And again, this could be something like the Rudolph Fentz story where somebody just dug through her documents and decided, this would make a great story. I'll go and fake. But let's be honest. That is a lot of effort to go through to make a fake story.
It is, but like, did you find what year it was? Do we know what year this was?
Let me find out.
I can't remember.
Oh, was it in the script?
I don't know.
1901.
1901.
Yeah.
See, 1901, I feel like I would
People were more
lean.
bored back then.
That's exactly right,
Right.
Worlds. I was just we are here. This is why
A
I'm
lot
so
more time
glad
on
you're
their
here.
hands.
Absolutely.
Yes. I don't know. I feel like that's exactly what happened. They were
Well,
bored.
Think of the amount of effort you'd have to go through.
They had the time. They're not sitting in front of the sad devices.
Sad devices.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like this story a lot, and I've heard it talked about many times on other podcasts, and it's still one of my favorites. I see more evidence in the light of proving it's real than I do disproving it. Sure, you could say they were bored, but like, did they really have access in 1901 to Marie Antoinette's personal diary?
Bet they did a lot more reading back
I
then.
bet they did. But I mean, it's a flip. It's a coin. It's definitely a two-sided coin. It could go either way. And I think at this point in the investigation, we're down to vibes. It's about the vibes you feel, because we're not really getting evidence to say one way or the other. Yeah, this is the kind of vibe I'm feeling. I love this thing. I'm so glad I finally showed you. We're just going to keep that up there. That would be a nice... So there's a way... So there's this website called IFTT, If This Then That, where people will link smart devices together. A lot of streamers will use it. They'll set up like smart lights in their streaming space, and they'll link it to If This Then That, and then If This Then That, IFTT will link to, say, I use Trigger Fire for my redemptions. So somebody could do a redemption, and that talks to IFTT. IFTT talks to the smart lights. So people watching could physically interact with stuff in this physical space that we're sitting in. I would love to, when we say paranormal, this thing kicks on. I am not prepared to pay for the pro version of IFTT. I've already been down that rabbit hole.
We don't make that kind of money in real life.
No. We are basic white folks. Very basic. I say that. I'm sitting in a $900 chair. It was free. They're going to throw it in the trash.
Pay that for it.
It was a free chair. Don't shame me for having a $900 chair. It was a free chair. They were going to throw it away. This belongs in a boat, actually. I'm very happy with this chair. This is supposed to go in a boat, but the first time it rained on a brand new boat, rust started pouring out of the bottom, and it stained the decking in a boat. They said, take that chair out, and we contacted the manufacturer. They said, throw it away. It's no good.
Preemptive dumpster dive.
That's right. Yeah, you got to know when to hold them, and know when to fold them.
Oh
That's
shit.
true, Kenny
Good haul.
Rogers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got really lucky because I had a problem. I would prefer a stationary chair, so this chair is actually screwed to the floor.
Okay, so it's also good to note that our house really isn't exactly level.
No.
So, I mean, you see me kind of shifting.
She's been creeping that way this
and
whole
he
time.
constantly has to pull me back over. This is not because I move on my own. This is because our house just pulls me
Yeah,
this
it
way.
leans a little bit to the middle.
So, yeah, I did do a little shift there, but most of the time,
Again,
it's,
basic white folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, our house is old. It was built, what was it, 1920s, 30s?
1930s.
Yeah. old house. Downstairs is level for the most part. They didn't get around to remodeling upstairs, so we're stuck with it. In movie magic, the camera's level, we're not.
It's okay. It makes life fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't roll into that case over there full of very expensive, rare uranium glass.
I'm trying not to. I'm doing my best.
Don't roll into that mustache on the...
My real goal is not to roll into another time.
Yeah, that was a joke. That was a joke, everybody. That was a joke. Again, we're basic white folks. Okay. Time for one more. Oh no, I'm down to the bottom of the box of the strong ones. Womp womp. I did actually do some research to try to get sponsored by Voodoo Ranger. They will not accept applications for sponsorship for anybody with less than 5,000 viewers. So, we have a bar to hit now. If we can hit 5,000 viewers, 5,000 views for each one of our videos, I have a potential for getting Voodoo Ranger as a sponsor.
So tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
So that Victus can continue to take good care of his liver.
Yeah.
That was not
this
your
is
liver
really,
that I touched. But...
You know, I used to drink all the time, every day. Now it's sometimes on Saturdays, definitely on Sundays.
Yeah. But not during the week.
Not during the week. I don't drink during the week anymore. Despite how many horrible nights of no sleeping and nightmares I have. Yeah. A little known fact about Victus here. I grew up with horrible, crippling social anxiety. Never medicated for it. And this is my way to get to be able to talk to everybody. Because I am not good around people. I get very nervous around people. Ask her. I don't want to go anywhere, ever.
That's okay, though, because I kind of balance us out a little bit when we go out, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she'll talk, and I'll just hover in the background with my hands in my pockets.
I have anxiety, but I process it a different way than he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're a very balanced coin.
Mm-hmm.
Very balanced.
Yep.
All right, well, you ready to get into Act 3?
Definitely ready.
Cool, so
Ooh.
we're going to have some fun here.
Cool. Ooh, it looks
Yeah,
like
you
we
see?
need to go to the street.
The streets! Take it to the streets!
Take it to the street.
We're taking it to the streets! All right, yeah, I get excited sometimes. All right, everybody, let's get into Act 3. This is Act 3, everybody. The streets where the past keeps returning. If the Versailles Time Slip is the most elegant time slip story, then Bold Street time slips may be the most repeated everyday version. Bold Street is a normal shopping street in the city of Liverpool. Cafes, stores, foot traffic, buses, nothing about it looks like the center of paranormal mystery. Blip, this is up your alley. But for years, people have reported something strange there. They claim the street does not always stay in the present. I am about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Wow. Glad I have a mute button.
Did you say Bond Street?
Bold Street. Bold. B-O-L-D. Bold. They claim... Wait, what did I leave off? These... Was that
One
it?
of the best known stories.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the best known stories involves a man walking along Bold Street while meeting his wife for lunch. He passed a bookstore and suddenly noticed everything around him looked wrong. Cars were older. Store signs had changed. Clothing styles looked decades out of date. Even the colors of the street seemed different, as if the world had been stripped backward in time. Stripped? Is that right? Yeah, okay. He looked into the shop windows and saw businesses that had not existed there for years. Some accounts say that he panicked and hurried forward. As quickly as it began, the modern streets returned. Traffic changed, signs changed, people around him looked normal again. Another witness described entering a store only to find it transformed into a different business entirely, decorated in an older style with products no longer sold. When they stepped back outside, the present-day street had returned. And that is what makes Bold Street fascinating. Unlike castles, ruins, or famous haunted sites, this is an ordinary urban location. People report time slips while doing everyday things, walking to lunch, shopping, running errands. No seance, no ritual, no expectations. Just a normal day that suddenly stops feeling normal. And like many time slips reported, the details repeat. A brief sense of something is off. A sudden environmental shift. Buildings or businesses from another era. People dressed differently. And then snap back to reality. Insert your popular Eminem song here. Skeptics say the explanation is obvious. Memory errors.
I've been there. Nice.
Oh, really? Fantastic. Did you get any time slips? I'm just curious. Certainly not, because at this point, I think we'd be hearing about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm looking at I just Googled it as you're talking because I'm looking at it to see what, I mean, we could never go there unless we found another way other than flying. But it would be cool to visit.
Like the Titanic over there. Yeah. Absolutely. Skeptics say the explanation is obvious. Memory errors, confusion, false recollection mixed with local history. Liverpool is an old city, and people know older shops once stood there. A person could easily misremember where they were, then shape the story later. That is possible, but there are also cases where people insist they knew the area extremely well. They were not tourists, they were locals. They recognized what they were seeing and knew it should not have been there. And that creates the same problem we saw in previous stories. Even if 90% of reports are exaggerations, mistakes, or folklore, what about the remaining cases that do not fit neatly? Time slip stories also happen on roads. Drivers report traveling a familiar route and then suddenly finding themselves in a version of the landscape that looks older. Missing buildings, dirt roads instead of pavement, vintage cars. Then moments later, everything returns to normal. Others describe losing time entirely. A 10-minute drive somehow becomes 45 minutes with no memory of what happened in between. Some connect these stories to UFO missing time cases, and others think it's fatigue or highway hypnosis, which is something we talked about earlier this season, actually. But the emotional reactions are often similar. Confusions, dread, disorientation, and the sense that something impossible just happened. That emotional pattern matters because people telling these stories rarely sound entertained. They sound disturbed. So what's the cause? One theory is purely psychological. The brain constantly reconstructs reality from incomplete information. Stress, distraction, fatigue, and expectation can produce convincing distortions. And in that model, time slips are not cracks in time, they are cracks in perception. Another theory is environmental. Certain places may trigger unusual states through sound frequencies, magnetic anomalies, or subtle sensory disruption. The witness experiences something real, but internal rather than external. And then there is the theory that people really come here for. And that's that some locations hold layers of time the way old recordings hold sound. Under rare conditions, those layers briefly bleed through. No machine, no portal, no lightning strike, just the wrong place at the wrong moment. Whether Bold Street proves anything is another question entirely. There's no accepted scientific evidence that folds time onto a shopping road in Liverpool, but the stories continue because they feel possible enough to imagine and strange enough to remember. And if places can hold echoes of the past, then the next step is even stranger. What if some people don't just see another time? What if they lose themselves? Okay, so we talked about Liverpool. So this is one that I'm glad we got to talk about. This is a very popular location. We talked last week or the week before about This Paranormal Life. The guys on that podcast actually walked down to this spot in Liverpool, and they didn't see anything weird, but they tried. It's very, very popular. I think there's even like a couple plaques stuck on some walls and some weird alleyways. Really strange.
Platform 9 3/4.
Say again.
Platform 9 3/4.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, funny thing is, if you go to the actual place where the platform 9 3/4 is, where they actually filmed it is not roped off with the velvet ropes, but like 150 feet away, they just have people like posing with a trolley. Whereas the actual 9 3/4 platform is just open, but nobody goes to it. Sheeple.
Anyways, yeah. So I googled this, and so what's really funny is Google gives you those questions that they suggest following your question, right? So what is Bold Street, Liverpool famous for? Cafes, the iconic St. Luke's Church, more commonly known as the Bombed Out Church. But then the next question is, what is the most rough area in Liverpool? What is the most rough area in Liverpool? So I'm just going to leave that out there and see if anybody can guess what it tells me the most rough area in Liverpool.
I have no idea.
It says it's one of the most populated areas in Liverpool due to the majority of clubs, pubs, and bars. Highly risky, large number of crimes, including criminal damage, violence, and antisocial behavior in the nighttime. Many people there are alcoholics and cause great trouble to others. This is not, I don't know that this is true. This is just something that Google has told me. It is Toxteth is what it says. Toxteth.
Well, I'm doing what I do.
I don't know if that's true. But you would think that
I've got it on Google Maps. Let's
you
take a
would
look.
think this is the most dangerous area in Liverpool. If you could just go missing in time, I feel like that's far more dangerous than whatever Google told me.
Look, this dude is barefoot. All right.
Barefoot.
Oh, geez. Yeah, this looks rough.
Toxteth is such a crazy name.
Toxteth?
It is. It is.
So, from what I gather, what I heard in stories is like they would be walking down this street and they would turn into an alleyway.
But the name of that store. Go back. Size? Question mark.
Size? But like, I don't actually see any like alleyways.
Oh, there's a voodoo shop.
That's a shoe shop.
Oh, Oh, the size store.
Oh, size?
is
Size question mark?
That's fair. Sometimes I'm a 7.5. Sometimes I'm an 8. I don't know. So that's fair.
That's the closest thing I could find to an alleyway. I don't see how a street like this, as busy as it is, gosh, there's so many people. How you could ever just like slip in time. Like right here makes sense because of
The alleyways are very small.
maybe I missed them. Look again. I know there's some here. It's so busy. Look at all these people. We'd never find this many people where we are. Golly.
I think that street might actually have more people than our whole county does.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that is covering an alleyway or something.
That's a pretty quiet say.
I don't see any alleyways. They must be really small, and I'm just not even seeing them.
It would be heaving on a weekend.
Really? Oh, check this guy out.
Yeah, I think there might be some folks dealing with housing insecurity.
Well,
and
back in the olden times anyway.
Is this Bolt Street here? Oh, yeah, it keeps going. Okay. It's so wild to think that it's so far away.
Yeah, we've got homeless people all over the place, especially in cities.
Yeah, I can.
we do too.
Yeah, you're not alone.
And the unfortunate. I mean, there's so many unfortunate parts about that, but there's just not enough affordable housing, and there's all these houses that just sit empty where we are, and then there are people who are struggling.
Is that one?
Kind of terrible.
Sorta. I mean, I could see it. I mean, I guess I understand. But I don't see anything on this street that really makes me go, oh shit, well that's where they feel like they slip back in time. Nothing is like a red flag here. Ah, jeez.
Do I see a Taco Bell? Because I know how happy that would make you if that's a Taco Bell right
What,
there.
right here?
No, over there to the
See
left.
McDonald's.
To the left. Okay, it's back. You passed it. Go. Yep.
Taco Bell, hey, all right.
Yeah, it's all pretty modern.
Live Moss, everybody. Go get those tacos.
Victus really wants there to be a Taco Bell near us. There's not one. There's one like maybe an hour away.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Come on. McDonald's. We've got one nearby. So that's it. That's the end of the street. Such a small street to have so much happening on it. Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing how somebody could be walking down that street and then slip into another time. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just having trouble parsing it together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I walked down that street and I walked into a store and suddenly I was obviously back in another time, I would have to try to walk out of that store with something in my hand.
Right.
That,
Yeah.
So I could, and then just does it disappear? Like, when you have those dreams where you win a whole bunch of money and you have all this money in your hand in the dream or whatever it is that you get. It doesn't have to be money. It can be whatever. And you really want to take that out with you. And then you wake up
Right.
and you're like, oh, crap. I don't have that. Like, that would be me. I would want to grab that thing and see if I could take that with me.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that coin, there was a lot of, the stories said that they panicked a lot. Like they would go in and then they would panic and then backtrack. And then once they backtracked, they went back to normal time. I don't think that knee-jerk reaction really kicked in for a lot of people. I mean,
But we have been educated in this
Yeah.
now, so we are ready.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I want evidence. I gotta have evidence. Y'all ain't gonna believe me if I don't have evidence. Either way, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Time slips. Indeed. Are you ready to get into Act 4?
I'm ready. Oh, it's my turn again.
It is your
Okay.
turn.
Act 4. The hours that vanish. Act 4. Here we go. Seeing another time is one thing. Losing your own time may be even stranger. Across decades and across countries, people have reported a similar experience. They begin an ordinary trip, walk, or routine task. Nothing unusual happens at first, then something feels wrong. The road seems unfamiliar. The environment becomes strangely quiet. Lights appear where they should not be. A sense of confusion sets in. Then, without warning, time is missing. A drive that should take 15 minutes somehow takes an hour. A person leaves work at the usual time and arrives home far later than expected with no memory of delay. Someone glances at a clock, looks again moments later, and finds 40 minutes gone. They remember the beginning and the end, but not the middle. These reports are often called missing time experiences. Some are linked to UFO encounters, others happen with no lights, no craft, and no paranormal imagery at all. That is where the subject overlaps with time slips. Because many witnesses do not describe being unconscious or asleep, they describe being present, alert, and deeply unsettled. They remember driving, they remember walking, they remember a strange stillness, then they realize time has moved differently than it should have. Sorry, Victus has changed the size on it.
Sorry.
There we go. One
I'm
of the most
multitasking over
common
here.
settings is the highway at night. A driver travels a familiar route, traffic is light, radio playing, everything normal, then the road feels empty in an unnatural way. No other headlights, no houses lit, no sound behind the engine. Then they continue forward, unsure why the atmosphere feels so wrong. When normal traffic returns, the clock says far more time has passed than the distance allows. Some describe seeing old-fashioned vehicles during the gap. Others report buildings that no longer exist. Some remember nothing except dread. Skeptics point to a well-known explanation: highway hypnosis. This is a real phenomenon where a driver enters an automatic state on repetitive roads, especially when tired. The brain handles basic driving while conscious memory becomes patchy. A person may travel miles with limited recall. When they snap back, it can feel like time vanished. That explanation likely accounts for many cases. Fatigue, stress, distraction, poor sleep, and monotony can distort memory more than most people realize. The brain does not record life like a camera. It builds a usable story after the fact, and sometimes pieces are missing. But not every report happens behind the wheel. People have described losing time while hiking, shopping, or walking familiar neighborhoods. Some say they entered a building briefly and emerged to discover an hour had passed. Others insist they experienced only a few minutes while everyone around them measured much longer. That introduces a deeper question. Do time slips happen externally in the world and internally in consciousness? Because if a witness experiences 5 minutes while an hour passes, the result feels identical either way. Whether time changed or perception changed, the person still lives through something impossible from their point of view. This is also why missing time stories are so emotionally powerful. They challenge something basic: trust in your own awareness. Most people can handle a ghost story because it happened to someone else. But losing time is personal. It attacks memory, routine, and certainty. If you cannot trust your sense of time, what can you trust? Let's see here. Some people hearing this have probably experienced it themselves. Driving home and arriving with no memory of that part of the trip, walking into a store and realizing much longer has passed than expected, feeling like the world briefly went silent. Others will say there is nothing paranormal here at all, just psychology doing what psychology does. Both sides have a point. The brain can create powerful distortions, but that does not make the experience meaningless. If thousands of people independently describe the same strange sensations, silence, displacement, dread, missing time, then something worth studying is happening, even if the cause is ordinary. And then there are the rare cases where multiple witnesses claim the same gap. Two people on a trip realizing they both lost the same stretch of time, families arriving late with no shared explanation, couples insisted the clock moved wrong for both of them. Those are harder to dismiss cleanly, not impossible to explain, but harder. Because once more than one witness enters the story, we move beyond private memory into shared anomaly. And if time slips are ever real, that might be where the best evidence would appear, not in one frightened witness, but in several. So after Rudolph Fentz, Royal Gardens, city streets, and vanished hours, we arrive at the biggest question of all. Are these stories warnings that time is unstable, or are they proof that the human mind is far stranger than we admit? Or are they proof that a lot of people got bored and invented some things to keep people entertained? I don't know. Could be any of the above.
It could be either. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. So we did talk briefly about missing time on highways. We talked about this in the beginning of this season, season 3, episode 2. Your brain is lying to you episode, where this is a common thing where people will. So let's recount the days when I worked nights at Walmart. You know, it was a 45-minute, 1 hour drive. And it seemed to me a lot of the times I would just blank it out. That I would leave and it felt like I was on the road for 15 minutes. And then poof, I'm there. Your brain will shut off when there's no important data being input into it. It's a recorded instance. This happens. It happens to everybody. We all have been there. We've got an hours long drive. Nothing important happens along the way, so the brain doesn't catalog any of that information. This is normal. Is it a time slip? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And, you know, something else, I was just thinking about this. Like, it's not even just driving, right? Like, and there are whole sections of time that my life has been so repetitive that I think I'm just missing. And it just from my memory, because I have so many other things in my mind all the time. So I feel like that's a pretty common occurrence. But I mean, I've had the same thing when I've driven, because I sometimes have to drive to travel to visit family further away. And it's like a 6 or 7 hour drive. And it really, I mean, there are times, especially on back roads, where I really don't know that much time has passed. And I look down and I go, wow, I've been driving for 2 hours, you know,
Yeah.
and no idea.
What's happened to you?
Yeah.
But it's
And
not,
I don't think it's a time slip.
It's not a time
just
slip.
Me zoning out and yeah.
I think the point of Act 4 was to make a clear delineation between your brain shutting off and going on autopilot and slipping into a different time. I still believe this is possible. I really do. Just because we don't have any evidence from this point on, or from this point back, to say that time slips aren't true.
So I just want to like veer off to the side for a second and say I love how much you believe in things. Like the realm of possibility. This could be possible. This could be possible.
Yeah.
And I'm being sincere when I say that, because what that also does is when like life gets really down, you're like, oh, things can be so much better. They're going to be so much better, because you just have this belief in magic that I love. I love that about you. I love that about you.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. I am the believer. I've always been the believer, and I will continue to be the believer.
It is very beautiful.
Thank you. This is another reason I bring in a second host of the show, because I think like for this season and a half that I did this by myself, they were almost all, yeah, these are paranormal. That's paranormal. That's paranormal. But it was like I think, oh geez, what was one that I knew was not paranormal, but we still sat here and talked about it for 2 hours? The Loveland Frogman. Clearly not paranormal, probably Polaroid Idolia. People were just bored. They wanted to make some stuff up. Oh, geez, is that a hit against my case tonight? Oh, no.
I still love it all, even though I don't think it's real.
Hey, you see, it's not so easy to get it going.
He's the red flag.
Oh, geez. All right, so
We really need to name him.
what's the guy at the beginning? Rudolph. That's his name, Rudolph.
I want to believe.
There you go. So we used to have a thing back in season 1 where when we would say, I want to believe, we would run our hand through the wind chime up here. And it was mic'd. But we don't do that anymore. Because I was by myself. Well, all right. So we've got Act 5 to get into, and then we're going to get into closing arguments, which is clearly leaning towards time slips being real. Obviously, right?
No. But they're fun
Late.
stories. They're fun stories. They're fun stories.
They're good stories.
They're fun stories.
But before we get into Act 5, I need to use the bathroom one more time.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I turn Rudolph off.
Rudolph. It's officially his name, Rudolph. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick bathroom break. We'll be right back. And we're going to get into Act 5. We're going to get into closing arguments. And we're going to discuss whether or not time slips are really paranormal. So don't go anywhere. Watch these incredibly horrible videos until we get back. Many drivers never realized what was happening until it was too late. A man standing near the riverbank saw the bridge fall in sections like a folding deck of cards. The truck driver who survived the fall said it felt like the road simply disappeared beneath him. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the conditions made recovery difficult. Boats from both sides of the river rushed to the scene. Some survivors clung to the debris, shouting for help. Others were trapped in their vehicles underwater. Emergency responders pulled as many people as they could from the river, but many sank with their cars before help arrived. Inside were beings, tall, between 6 and 7 feet, thin with elongated heads, large black almond-shaped eyes, skin that appeared grayish-white, slick like plastic. No mouths, no ears, just eyes. They communicate, but now with words. They're inside my head. Jim said. He was placed on the table, naked, cold, unable to move or scream. The beings inserted something into his nostrils, something thin and sharp. He felt it reaching deep, too deep. Then something touched his groin, a metallic object with spindles. They're taking something. They're a proof of how thin the human operating system can become under stress, drugs, and infection and fear. So no shambling corpse, no resurrection, and yet if you're looking for real-world zombification, here it is. Compulsion at the molecular level. Now imagine a human-scaled analog, a pathogen that narrows the world to an impulse, rage, pursuit, panic, and that erases memory, fragments of identity, and flattens empathy. Not a cinematic plague, a behavioral one. They're a proof of how thin the human operating system can become under stress, drugs, and infection and fear. A city drifts a few degrees off true north, and suddenly the familiar looks like an invasion. If the Haitian zombie was a metaphor for enslavement and death, then the modern zombie is a metaphor for systems failure during life, an organism or a society running without the parts that make it human. However, rabies is scary. We heavily vaccinate our pets today against rabies simply because they are larger animals and that they have very sharp teeth. They're very good at biting. However, we see a lot of like rabies infested like raccoons. Smaller, I don't want to use the word rodent because they're not really rodent like animals, but smaller animals are really better at transmitting the rabies virus. This is the big reason why we have the stigma today that we don't want mice in our homes, because mice, rats, anything in the rodent family spreads disease. All right, we returned. I see your messages. Yeah, and it inspired classic British TV series Good Night Sweetheart. Yeah, I looked it up. I agree, yes, completely. A whole bunch of Cryptid and X-Files patches. What?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're big X-Files fans over here.
Earlier, we also mentioned we were big Star Trek fans, and specifically,
Yep.
specifically,
You drifting again?
Star Trek Next Generation fans. And that's because I have and always have had a thing for Sir Patrick Stewart. He's my dude.
Oh wait, hold on, wait.
Dude.
We'll do zoom.
Hell yeah, it's
Captain
the
Picard.
best.
He's my little. He's my dude. I love that he actually like adopts dogs and is really sweet to puppies. Oh, I love him. Yay! Yay! Anyway, I had to share that with you, worlds, because I felt like we could bond over that as well. That and Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, we've so on the weekend, so we watch a lot of the same thing on repeat. Lately, it's been Unsolved Mysteries. It shuffles around. We don't have really a set pattern, but I've been trying like hell for the last couple months to get you back into Star Trek.
I have to be in a really like specific mood for Star Trek. I have to be willing to sit there and watch the whole thing. And where I've been teaching so much in addition to my full-time job, like it's just a lot to let myself relax and like sit down and take some time like that. But,
It does require a little bit of bandwidth.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, then
Yeah.
I mean, that's half the reason we put something on the TV. It's just to have white noise, something to in the background. But Star Trek is so interesting, and it's written so well, and there's so many episodes. Oh my God, so many episodes. We're gonna get into it eventually. We'll get there. Like I even tried.
we went pretty far the last time.
We did.
Yeah, we went pretty far the last time.
We've even been dipping back into Doctor Who a little bit. Community has come back up on our rotation.
I'm pretty sure I introduced you to Community
You
when we
did.
first started dating, and so now we've watched all 6 seasons together multiple times.
6 seasons in a movie. We're waiting.
We're waiting on the movie.
Come on. Oh, jeez. Community fans too. Yeah, I love it. We love us some Community.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool, cool, cool. Troy and Abed in the morning.
I really like that Troy and Abed are in mourning. I say it all the time. Yeah. Big Donald Glover fan. Huge Donald Glover fan. Childish
Sign
Gambino. Huge Community fans. We actually, so just today, we were like,
Oh man, he's amazing.
we've never seen Community Funko Pops. So we looked it up,
I was pretty sure Dan Harmon was like, no, you're not doing
Yeah.
that.
but Dan Harmon apparently, like I even looked it up because they even have Rick and Morty Funko Pops, which I've never seen. Apparently he did like a single run and that was it, which is crazy to me because Rick and Morty is crazy popular.
I used to listen to Harmontown all the time.
Oh, Harmontown's okay. It didn't quite strike the chord with us that we thought was going to happen. We tried it. I think we only got like 3 episodes in, and we were like, "No, this is not for us."
I don't remember.
It had weird animation. That's all I can say.
That was my time slip moment.
Time slip. Yeah,
That
yeah.
was my time slip moment. I need to go back and do it again because I missed it. Like in my memory, it didn't.
Was what's the name of that one with the aliens? Corvo.
Oh, Solar Opposites.
Solar Opposites. Was that Dan Harmon show?
I don't know, but I know the voice actors. I think overlap or they sound
Hey, Google.
very similar.
Hey Google, was Solar Opposites a Dan Harmon show? No, it wasn't. Oh, Justin Rowland, yeah, one of the other co-producers. He's the one that does the. Did you catch any of that at the end of the show? That's Justin Rowland. But yeah, there are Community Funko Pops, and they are obnoxiously expensive.
They are, yeah. The Abed one is like over
$150.
$100. Yeah.
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 I want Abed, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Abed are kindred spirits.
So we saw Annie, we saw Jeff, we saw Chang, Abed, and Shirley is what we saw when we looked it up. But
and
there
Abed
might
was the
be
most
more.
expensive.
Yeah.
The most manic of all the characters was the most expensive. Everybody loves Abed. I think secretly Everybody loves Ovid. Well, all right, folks, let's get into Act 5. Oh, geez. Act 5, we're at the end already. We're going to break down whether or not we think time slips are real based on the script and not our opinions until the end. Let me get a sip of my Burberry
Okay.
juice.
I will do my best to abide by the rules. I'm pretty good at
Thank you.
rules. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Well, let's get into Act 5, everybody. This is Act 5. Are time slips real? So after stories like Rudolph Fentz, the Versailles Time Slip, and Bold Street Time Slips, we end up at the same final question. Did any of this actually happen? Not were the witnesses lying, because that's too simple. Many people who report time slips sound sincere. They often gain nothing from telling the story. Some invite ridicule, some keep the experience private for years before mentioning them at all, like the case of Versailles. The better question is, what happened to them? And that distinction matters. A witness can be honest and still mistaken. Some can truly believe they stepped into another era while experiencing something psychological, neurological, or environmental. Sincerity is not proof, but it should not be dismissed either. There are several possible explanations. The first is memory distortion. Human memory is far less reliable than people like to think. We do not replay events like recordings, we rebuild them. Details get added, removed, rearranged over time. A strange moment today can become a dramatic story years later, without the witness ever intending to deceive anyone. Just like when I first met you, I could have swore there was like a halo of light around you. And like
Oh my
glitter
gosh,
falling
that's
through
the
the sky.
sweetest thing. Look at you.
But
You want more Funko Pops.
maybe I do. But I think we've talked about it, and you deny the backlighting and the glitter, and like doves didn't fly away into the distance behind you, even though I clearly remember that.
But if glitter fell off of me, you wouldn't have wanted anything to do
No.
with me anyway.
There's a reason I call it the devil's herpes. Curse you, glitter. The second is altered perception. Stress, fatigue, disassociation, anxiety, sensory overload, and environmental factors can create intensely real experiences. A quiet street may suddenly feel unreal. A familiar road may seem wrong. A few missing details in the brain's processing can create a full sense of displacement. And then third explanation is folklore. Stories like Rudolph Fentz became popular. They shape how witnesses interpret odd experiences. Someone has a confusing moment in an old city. Instead of thinking, I zoned out, they think, maybe I slipped through time. Stories teach people how to describe mystery. But then we arrive at the explanation many listeners want to consider. What if time is not as solid as it feels? Modern physics already treats time differently than everyday life does. Time can be affected by speed, gravity, relative motion. That does not prove that Victorian men are appearing in intersections or shoppers are walking into 1960 stores, but it does remind us that time is not the simple universal constant people once assumed. I said at the beginning, I'll say it again, time is a human construct. It is not a part of physics. So could consciousness interact with time in ways we do not understand? Could places hold informational traces of the past? Could rare conditions create moments where perception accesses something outside normal sequence? Right now, there is no accepted scientific evidence proving that. But there is also no shortage of people who insist something happened to them. And that's why time slips remain such a powerful subject. They sit exactly between science and story, too strange to ignore completely and too weakly evidenced to confirm. And maybe That uncertainty is the real reason they endure. Ghost stories ask whether the dead remain. UFO stories ask whether we are alone. Time slip stories ask something even more personal. Are you certain the world around you is stable? Could the street you walk every day look different tomorrow for reasons no one can explain? Could 10 minutes become an hour? Could you glance around a corner and briefly see into another version of the same place layered over your own? Those questions stay with people because they touch daily life. Time slips do not happen in outer space or ancient tombs. They happen on roads, in parks, in stores, on lunch breaks, during normal afternoons. They invade the ordinary. Whether the story is fact, fiction, or myth, built from both, it survived because it captured a universal fear. To be lost in the wrong time. To watch the world move on without you. To realize reality may not be as dependable as it seems. So are time slips real? Maybe not in the way legends describe, but the experiences, the fear, the confusion, and the questions they create are absolutely real. And sometimes that is enough to keep the mystery alive for generations. So we've done it. We've reached the end of the investigation on time slips. Don't say what you're thinking. Don't say it yet. Don't say it. Don't you say it. What do you do? I just want you to remember how much I love you.
You just told me there was like a little glow behind me, and when you met me, and you're just really talking it up, aren't you? Yeah.
I just want you to remember how much you mean to me before you decide whether or not this case is really paranormal or not.
The question is, will I still mean that much to you? Depending on my answer. I don't know. I mean, like, we want these things to be real, right?
Sure.
Because that would be really cool. And it's like I said earlier, I love that you hold space for them to be real. Like that's one of the things I love about you, is that you believe in these things that are so, like, I don't know, that the rest of us jaded and cynical people are like, no, that's
Because I grew up on
That's not
Disney
real.
movies.
yeah. Well, I mean,
and
I did
I want to
too.
believe that silver lining is real.
I did too, but something must have just I don't know. The aliens must have taken that part of my brain, because sometimes I have a hard time with that, you know? I mean, and you know, earlier in the show we talked about how we both have anxiety and it works differently. Perhaps that's the same part of my brain that always looks for the worst case scenario. Like, I guess I'm kind of stuck in, there's just not enough evidence. It can't be real. And I don't think about, well, there's not enough evidence that it cannot be real, you know? So I do have to say, because I am a negative Nancy or negative Nelly, I have to say I don't think it's paranormal.
Your walk away, Wendy.
Or walk away, Wendy, yeah. I don't think it's paranormal, but I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that it is, because that would be really cool for everybody, but especially you.
All right, well, listen up, everybody, because I'm about to tell you what really is going on. Open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Same.
Hear what I've got to say. I'm the creator of this podcast. No, I'm regretfully, I'm gonna say jeez. Do I have to admit it in front of everybody? In front of all 5 people watching right
Oh no, did I break you? Did I?
No. Because I am an evidence-based investigator. I like to look at evidence. I want to see evidence. And I have the same thought process as you. If somebody says they go into a shop and it was like, oh, I walked around the corner, I thought I was going into Abercrombie and Finch, and it turns out it was a fucking wand shop in the Harry Potter universe. Grab something and run out of that bitch. I'm with you. I want proof. I'm 100% with you. Because if you slip back in time, you would immediately notice, especially like here, like where we are. If we slip, well, maybe not here. If we slip back in time 50 years, we'd probably be the same.
We would be the same.
This poor place over here where we live, the Walmart would still be here, but it would just be just as dated as it is today. But no, it. I need evidence, and there is no evidence. The only piece of evidence we were given tonight was a photograph of Rudolph Fentz from the 1832, before he disappeared. He sat long enough for that 2.5 minute long exposure to take in a film, and he's like, "Hey, I'm out of here." Disappears into the 1950s, gets hit by a taxi and dies. Or he ran off and started his own life somewhere else. It was the 1830s. It happens. It happened all the time. I want to believe this is true. However, if you go down the rabbit hole like I did last night, because this entire investigation was supposed to be on Rudolph Fentz, there is evidence to say that he did exist in the 1800s. But there is no evidence to prove that he was there in the 1950s. There is no police records, which we had in the 1950s, especially here in the States, which is where he was. We still have paper records from the 1950s. Police reports, they still exist, and if they're still on paper, they're in a box somewhere, and if not, they're digitized.
They even, I would imagine they were on microfilm for a while and then they digitized them. Yeah.
Yeah, there is no police record saying that a man just appeared in the middle of New York City and got hit by a taxi and died. It's a great story. I get why it lasted as long as it did. It's a great story. I caught wind of it on Instagram. I'd heard the story before, but I'd never really put it together and thought, maybe this could be true before rewriting the script a dozen times last night. I am also going to say, regretfully, that time slips are probably not paranormal. I thought that was for the...
I just put it up to make you feel better.
Okay, thank you. All right. Jeez. Yeah. So, yeah, there's just not enough evidence. I need more evidence. We've got more evidence on the Roswell UFO crash. We've got more evidence on Bigfoot. Thank you, Worlds. I'm sorry. At least we've got video of a fake Bigfoot. At least we've got video of a fake moon landing to try to convince people like somebody around here that we landed on the moon. I'm sorry. Well, while we're on the subject, small sidebar.
Oh my gosh.
While we're on the subject of the moon landing being fake, is it any coincidence that Artemis flew to the moon?
I can see these slips being some kind of remote viewing the past, but actual physical time travel I am skeptical too.
I agree with you, Blip. Is it any coincidence that the Artemis spacecraft launched to fly around the moon on April Fool's Day?
You're silly.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you know why they went and just flew around the moon a couple times and then came back? Because they didn't know if they could do it or not. Because they've never done it before. Yeah. Otherwise, we would have just landed on the moon, right? We've got rovers on Mars. They're talking about colonizing Mars, but we can't land on the moon?
Side note. I just want to say how incredibly badass it was that all those women were leading them back in, and there's a woman on there, and it was just so badass, and I was so proud of women and
We
how
drew
far
a cock on
we've
Mars
been
and
able to come.
everything.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
Well, look, women were there on the videos. Were they really up there?
Yeah.
Did you notice that the launch, right at the launch, right as the craft disconnected from the tower and took off flight, you notice the emergency escape pods deployed from the tower?
I did not notice that.
I noticed immediately. Because no launch in American history shows the emergency pod deploying from the tower until Artemis left Earth.
We really ought to get you another tin hat.
I don't know if we've got a new aluminum foil.
We did not have aluminum foil today, remember?
No, we
looked.
did. I found it.
Oh, okay.
It was tucked away in one of the drawers. But but no, awfully funny that while we're sidebarring the sidebar, awfully funny that every single shot of them floating around in space just happened to have some random stuffed animal floating in zero gravity. That is referred to in paranormal circles as the zero gravity identifier. It is proof that they are in zero gravity. Otherwise, you were on a ship that required very specific weight. Why would you take something up like a stuffed animal? You've got to account for water, life support, food, waste, everything. A pencil. You've got to account for every single ounce on that spacecraft. But they took a stuffed animal up there just to prove that they were in zero gravity. Because they didn't go. They didn't go.
Oh my goodness.
Do yourselves a favor. Get on
Oh, my
Instagram, find
goodness.
all the people faking zero gravity videos. There's your homework. Have fun. Enjoy that rabbit hole.
I take
Anyway.
a cuddly toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would too.
I mean, they had Artemis
Absolutely.
in Houston.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just saying. Data doesn't weigh anything. They could. I would be very comfortable with a digital stuffed animal. I'm grasping at straws now. But
You would not. You do. The other thing is that you all don't know is that we have
here we go.
so
Oh, gosh.
many stuffed animals
Look
in this
here.
house.
It's half
So
of because
many.
of you.
Not that.
Is it?
Pretty
Is
sure
it?
you started it.
How many have I bought for you?
I know, but how many have I bought for you?
Like 4.
More than 4.
We have the last count.
It was over 150.
Yeah. 100.
And
I think it was
we
163.
sleep on them too. Like we sleep on them as pillows. Not even we don't even use like real.
All right, I'll say it. I'll tell everybody. We collect Squishmallows.
A
Fine.
Tamagotchi would interfere with the scientific instruments.
You see? Yeah. World gets it. World
But
gets
they
it.
didn't take a Tamagotchi.
They didn't. They took a physical object that weighed more than a Tamagotchi
Yeah, because they didn't want it to interfere with the scientific instruments.
because they had to prove they were in zero gravity because they weren't there.
Because they have a small child probably, or that they wanted their stuffed animal to go to space.
That's what you need to believe.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, back to time slips being not paranormal.
Anyway, we didn't go to the moon. Whatever.
I have a huge goose, a platypus, and a stuffed fabric poo I made.
Oh, I love that.
my gosh.
I love that. That's awesome.
One of these days, we will show our obnoxious collection of Squishmallows. So what you're looking at here is like a third of the second bedroom, which is a mirror of our bedroom. And our bedroom, all along the ceiling, all the way around the entire bedroom, is a solid row of Squishmallows. And then the stairwell, because we're upstairs, I think there's probably like 50 in the stairwell.
Something close to that, yeah.
And then there's we get
A
like
dozen in
super
here.
gigantors over there. The really big ones are over here. And then above every window, Jesus Christ, we have so many Squishmallows. I'm not upset.
We're gonna be in trouble if we do move, if and when we do move.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things to move. Anyway,
Okay, folks. So we've agreed that this time slips are not truly paranormal. It's true. It's not paranormal. If it is, come on, folks, give us some better evidence. All of the smartphones in the world, and we still haven't come up with better evidence than just a first-hand account. I mean, kudos to them. They have a first-hand account instead of like a second or third-hand, but no, we need more evidence than that. It's not enough. It's just not enough. Not enough. All right, folks. Well, before we get into closing monologue, let me shoot my little spiel here. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you, Worlds of Confusion. Thank you, Blip, for being here. Thanks, Hef, for popping in. If any of you have an idea for a future episode, or you have your own paranormal tale, case, or claim, you can email us at beyondshadowspodcast@gmail.com. The email has been below us this entire time, or you can scan this lovely QR code up here above my right shoulder, and it'll give you a link to all of our socials, including the email. You can email us, tell us anything you want, tell us how good or bad we're doing. I will read it, even if it's bad. I'll be upset, but I'll read it. But
don't
no,
break
I
his
think
heart.
I thank every single person that has come into our show. 99 episodes, and who'd have thought? This is my third year doing this. Who'd have thought 3 years ago that this would have made it past episode 10? They say if you make it past episode like 25, you're in the top 2% of podcasters. We're still pulling like single-digit views and listens on the episodes, but I don't care. I do this because I love it. And get ready for more of the mushy shit next week, because next week will be a big reflection on the last 2.5 seasons. We are, well, I say 2.5. We're a quarter of the way through season 3. But next week, we're going to recap our very first episode, The Phoenix Lights. I hope y'all are here, because The Phoenix Lights was our first episode for a very specific reason, because it is my favorite investigation. It is my favorite paranormal case. I chose it because I wanted to open with a bang. Unfortunately, the production value was subpar. I was still figuring things out. So next week, we're going to recap our first episode for episode 100. As long as my math is correct. I should get a notification here in a couple days to remind me, but next week should be our 100th episode. We did it, 100 episodes. I'm very excited. I worked very, very hard for this. Even if it came down to me podcasting to a wall, I wouldn't care. I would still be excited about the 100th episode.
Excited.
Thank you. I hope you're going to be here. I really do. Because I look forward to taking Hazel through the rabbit hole of the Phoenix Lights. There's a lot to go through. We're going to do just a
I
full...
plan to be.
Fantastic. We're going to do a full investigation like we never touched the Phoenix Lights in the first place. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. And we might even pull some embarrassing clips.
We always have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we do. Maybe next week we'll see if maybe the puppy will sit up here and be calm. If we can, maybe we'll shut the door and give him his bone that he loves, that he'll sit calmly in between us.
I just want to note that the cat has been very calm tonight. I'm very proud of her. She's
She's been sitting on one of her
across the
giant
room.
squishmallows this
She's
whole
being a
time.
good kitty. She's being a good girl. We're very excited about Olive. Good job.
And in case nobody's noticed, the first two pets, Potato and Chicken, and our second two pets, Basil and Olive Oil. I'll
Good
let you.
fluffy ones.
They are. They're massive. They're like, geez, 36-inch?
Oh yeah, the
At
pillows.
least.
So the squishmallows,
They're
the ones
massive.
that she's sleeping on, are 36 inches. I think she's saying that our babies are good fluffy ones.
Oh, yeah. The babies are good fluffy.
Yeah.
Even the squishmallows. Yeah, that's what she meant. Yeah, I got it.
But you're saying about basil and olive oil, potato and
Yes.
chicken. Yeah, they all have. So when we met, I had chicken and he had potato, but they actually had different names, but those were their nicknames, and so their nicknames just stuck, and we started calling them the soup babies. So
Yep.
now we have basil and olive because all of these things are soup ingredients, and we also call each other Bean.
Yep.
So we're the soup family,
Team Soup.
Team Soup.
Team Soup. We had T-shirts made.
We
Or-
did have
or-
T-shirts.
I know I made
You
T-shirts
did, yes.
somewhere. I think I kept mine. I should have kept mine. I didn't throw it away. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up, folks. Let's hit this closing monologue. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. I love every single one of you guys. You're doing great. Thank you so much. We've made it to 99 episodes. Next week will be our 100th episode. Expect a big blowout.
Thank you so much for tonight, guys.
Next week,
Thank you, world.
I think next week we should wear
Thank you, Blip.
onesies. What do you feel about
We could
that?
wear onesies. We have a few different to choose from. We
Yeah.
could definitely wear onesies.
I'm not going to wear my Fortnite onesie.
It's okay.
I don't play Fortnite, but I do really like
Big
the pink
love to
teddy
you
bear.
all.
Big love to you.
We're so glad you're here. So thank you so much for sticking through this entire episode of my manic rambling, trying to convince Hazel that time slips are real, and I failed horribly. But, you know, that's the way it goes. This is why we need 2 hosts on the show, at least 2. Just think if Aeon were here. Would this have gone any differently?
If Paul were here, it wouldn't have gone differently.
Oh, don't bring Paul in. Jeez. All right. Well, let's hit this closing monologue. We're going to get the hell out of here, folks. Before we get going, let me see if there's anybody streaming that we can raid. We haven't raided anybody in a little while. Hef is streaming. All right, we're going to raid Hef. We're going to raid him. He's doing the cut zone. The cut zone is Hef's alternate personality. And he does odds and ends. He does weird stuff. I don't know what he's doing right now. Let's see.
Perfect.
Where's he at? Did I pass it? Cut zone. Oh, it looks like he's working in his garage. Okay, cool. Yeah, he does these. So he does these great streams where he just works in his garage and he straps a camera to his head. And so you see what he's doing. And I love these streams because he's always working on something. Kudos to him. Look, he's wearing gloves and everything. He's doing so good. He was talking about like working on his car, I think, this weekend. So we're gonna raid Hef. So give Hef some love, everybody. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna hit this closing monologue. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. But
He has all the tools.
he does have all the tools and all the geez, so many bins. He may or may not be a little OCD.
Yeah, that definitely does look a little OCD. That's okay though.
Yeah, me and him go way back. We've known each other since we were in middle school. We go way, way, way back. Another little known fact about Victus is the reason I got into streaming was because of Hef. Half of the equipment we're using tonight came from Hef. It was hand-me-down stuff. Back when we were living in the apartment. So many years ago. So many years ago. All right, well, let's get out of here, folks. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's hit this closing monologue. We're going to raid Hef. I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's episode. And the next week, we're going to have a lot of fun with our 100th episode of Beyond the Shadows podcast. We're going to have so much fun. I know it. And I hope y'all are here. Let's get in this closing monologue. So tonight, we looked at stories of people who may have stepped into the wrong time. From the legend of Rudolph Fentz to witness who claimed streets, buildings, and entire moments no longer belong to the world around them. Maybe every case can be explained by memory, stress, confusion, or strange ways the mind protects itself. Or maybe, once in a while, reality slips just enough for someone to notice. We may never know for certain, but if time is stranger than we think, then the next unexplained moment could be waiting for any of us. So if you find yourself on a foggy back street and you turn a corner and all of a sudden things don't look right. People are wearing different clothing. The vehicles look strange. Was that business there before? But didn't that place go out of business? Go inside, grab something off the fucking shelf, and walk outside, run away screaming, give us proof, because if you don't, we're just going to continue to come up with not paranormal. But if you do, make sure you follow us Beyond the Shadows. Good night, everybody. Give half a shout for us, everybody. Have fun. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.